agreed-upon rules. If a candidate directly or indirectly refers to something another candidate has said, then there is offered to the other candidate 30 seconds to rebut. And so I believe I need to offer Dave Scholl 30 seconds to rebut.
Absolutely. I was a wrestler in high school, so we'll do a takedown match after that. That was all good fun. That's fun.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. We'll move on to Steve Sutherland then. Mr. Sutherland, what is your view on how the Obama administration is handling the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and how would you handle the situation?
I've got great problems with just about everything that the Obama administration has done since last January. I believe that this country should never ask its young men and women to ever go on a foreign battlefield and fight a politically correct war. When we come, it should always be a horrific day in the life of your country. If you shoot at us from any structure, we will shoot back at you with something much larger than you threw at us. You will cease to exist. It should be gruesome. It should be never something that I want to watch in my living room with my children, because it should be quick. I have a problem with wanting more for some countries than they want for themselves. It is time for us to come home from Iraq, but I want to do this. I want to fight that evil in Afghanistan there and not here. It is time for America to fight wars that we win in a hurry.
And Barbara Olsner, what is your view on how the Obama administration is handling the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, and how would you handle the situation?
Well, I think David is right. As to the war on the ground, I think that the Obama administration has handled it okay. But I really think that the real problem is their failure to address that we're really dealing with a global war on terrorism, and you can see that in the way that they are handling these terrorists over here in our country. You can see how Eric Holder can't get out of his mouth a radical Islam because he might offend someone, not to mention the fact they're trying to blow us up at every street corner that they can, and that he's trying to tinker with our Fifth Amendment so he can figure out what to do with these enemy combatants over here who are really terrorists. I think they have a real failure to look at the whole picture of the war against terror. They need to call it a war against terror, which is what they have declared against us, and I can tell Mr. Holder how to handle the enemy combatants if he really doesn't know.
All right, thank you, Ms. Olsen. Appreciate that. Okay, next question. We'll start off with Eddie Hendry. The United States has had 3 terrorist attacks and a number of attacks averted on our soil since our current president was inaugurated. What, in your opinion, should the United States do to keep these attacks from continuing?
Bastards didn't do it right.
Well, that's a very good question. The first thing we have to do is we have to take them on where we're taking them on right now. George Bush, President Bush, had carte blanche to do what he wanted after 9/11, and we've kind of slipped away from that. We've got to attack people that harbor terrorists, that employ terrorists, and that train terrorists. That's the only way that we're going to be able to stop terrorism. Islamic fundamentalism is not something that they're mad at America about. They're mad about our way of life. And that's all they want to do, is destroy our way of life. We've got to be able to shut down the border, for one thing, to keep them from getting in. And we need to be able to have a comprehensive plan through Homeland Security to identify them when they get here and not send them back, but lock them up. They are not American citizens. They are enemy combatants and should be treated as such.
Thank you, Mr. Hendry. Ron McNeil. Again, the U.S. has had 3 terrorist attacks, a number of attacks averted on our soil since our current president was inaugurated. What, in your opinion, should the United States do to keep these attacks from continuing?
Well, certainly we have to coordinate between all the agencies. You've got to have money spent on intelligence to try to stop and find out exactly what's happening. And certainly, I fly a lot because of my business. And I assure you, one of those fuzzy-faced dudes gets on with the turban. I do a little profiling. We have to stop, period. We have to be thorough enough to get it stopped. I tell you what, I went through Israel several times many years ago, 20, 25, 30 years ago. Son, they had guns everywhere. You walked in an airport. You were inspected from head to toe. You don't go in there and carry a bomb with you. So we've got to do the same kind of things. We've got to control the people who are coming in and out of this country. And certainly part of that is to control the borders. Right now, I can't imagine thinking I'd have a hard time getting across the border in this country. So we've got to stop that and control those things.
All right, thank you, Mr. McNeil. Steve Sutherland, the U.S., again, has had 3 terrorist attacks and a number of attacks averted on our soil since our current president was inaugurated. What, in your opinion, should the U.S. do to keep these attacks from continuing?
One thing that I would not do that President Obama did this past week is decided to cut the Port Authority and the Homeland Security budget of New York by 25%. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe that is his major responsibility as Commander-in-Chief and President of the greatest country the world has ever known, is to protect its citizens. That is dereliction of duty. And I believe that in 2012 we have got to remove him if we're going to protect this nation going forward. I'm fine with Guantanamo Bay, by the way. I don't have a problem. I don't want to feed them. I don't want them to be on my soil. I don't want my tax dollars paying for them in our jails. But I also want to adopt something that Israel's doing. They understand. They profile behavior, not ethnicity. They know when you're doing something you shouldn't. And they profile behavior. We don't have to recreate the wheel. We could borrow some of their practices.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sutherland. Parker Holster, again, the U.S. has had 3 terrorist attacks, a number of attacks averted on our soil since our current president was inaugurated. What, in your opinion, should the U.S. do to keep these attacks from continuing?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to be clear, and I think our administration needs to get off the fence and be clear that we are at war with terrorists who are trying to kill us. We need to not mince any words about that. And secondly, when these attacks happen, we need to stop charging these people with crimes and stop running them through our criminal justice system and stop giving them criminal trials. They need to... They need to be turned over to the military and questioned. Seemed to be too hard a word for a moment there. They need to be questioned by the military as people who are out to kill us in this country. And I will tell you this if you don't know this, but in the criminal law, the government has to turn over to the defense all the information they had, and that is what happened in the first World Trade Tower bombing case, that they had so much information that the government had that it helped them in 9/11. That should never happen again.
Thank you, Ms. Holster. All right, Dave Scholl, the U.S. has had 3 terrorist attacks and a number of attacks averted on our soil since our current president was inaugurated. What, in your opinion, should the U.S. do to keep these attacks from continuing?
You know, for the president to call the global war on terror a contingency operation and terrorist attacks, man-made disasters, shows a general lack of understanding of the nature of the threat. Ladies and gentlemen, these people hate. If it wasn't us, they would find someone else. We just happen to be the target of opportunity right now that they are using to try to bring themselves together. President Obama needs to realize what it is. We've been lucky during the time that he's been in office that these individuals have been so incompetent that they did not blow up a Delta jet en route to Detroit, and the individual was not able to get the tanks to ignite in New York. We sidestepped that one, and we got very lucky. I doubt that's going to continue. In order to fight these individuals, we need to quit prosecuting our CIA agents or the troops overseas. My friend sitting 10 rows up, we all went through mock prisoner of war training at the Air Force Academy. We're not hurting these individuals. They know our tactics. They've got our manual. So let's get in there, get the information, protect the American people, and quit worrying about the terrorists.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Scholl. We will start off our next question with Eddie Hendry. What is your position on the don't ask, don't tell policy regarding gays in the military? I'm sorry, you know what? You did, I apologize. All right, we go to Ron McNeil. I've done so well up until now.